let's try this again. I actually turned off my Wi-Fi here. They're working outside, and it was seeming like on my computer it was making my broadcast like real grainy. So we'll see. I did get a new phone. So let's get this shared in my other group. Okay, this is looking better. If you're hopping on, say hello. Hello. I know this is an odd time for a lot of people, but I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start this wreath. I actually got my shop cleaned up, which it was a disaster. And that probably is a big understatement. But I was going through a bunch of things and I found some signs I'm gonna use. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do another trick-or-treat wreath. The other day when I was in Florida, I did a live with a trick-or-treat. We did a swag. I'm gonna do this one. I love this. I know it's hard to see, but literally the bats and the wording is glittery. So it's got that nice glitter to it. But I found this and I thought, I'm gonna make this into a wreath. Again, the last one I did with Trick or Treat was a swag, a long swag, a door swag. So this one's gonna be turned into a wreath. So let's get started on this. But this is my inspiration. And with that being said, I pulled all of these colors of ribbon to make the bow with. So we are going to get this set first, okay? So with this, I am going to get the back set with my glue or my cable ties. And I know you've seen me use these before. These are cable tie mounts. You can get them right at Home Depot. And you can thread your pipe cleaners through them. But I'm going to get them set up. These make it nice because when you find, this was just a wooden sign and it literally, you could see the staples are still in there. It had a twine hanger on it. Just cut them off. So I'm going to get that on there, and I have my glue gun out. I'm actually going to kind of just glue around the edges with this as well, just to kind of double secure it. It probably doesn't need it, and I usually don't, but I am today. Sometimes you can use super glue around the edge if you want. You don't have to. I've never had an issue where these have fallen off, so it's not like that I've had an issue with that. It has 3M tape on the back, and that's usually pretty durable. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm just going to kind of let this set up. And we are going to go right into our bow. We're going to actually do a grapevine wreath today, and this is an 18-inch round. My favorite is grapevine wreaths. I love grapevine wreaths, and I also love the evergreen wreaths that you get at like Christmas time. So those are my favorite to use. I'm most comfortable with grapevine just simply because I've been doing that for years. So that's what I tend to work with a lot. But we're going to go ahead and get our bows going. And I'm going to do a double bow again because for some reason people like the double bow. Yeah, I'm going to do a double bow. Tomorrow, I might try a triple bow. Isn't that crazy? But look at this. Look at this glitter. This is the black version of the ruby red slipper glitter that glitter ribbon that I have. And I love this one. I think I have only one more roll. And I'll tell you, I found this at Michael's. It's very hard to find. When you find it, scoop it up. I have been glued to the Facebook group that I'm in for the Florida hurricane. It's literally our county hurricane emergency response kind of like thing. Emergency response management is what it is. And I've been kind of glued to that today, trying to watch it. Because this storm keeps just changing as it's going. So they keep giving updates. Let's get these. You know how I am about about my ribbons and my bows. Let's set them before we kind of get them off of the bow maker. We're going to make 2 of these. All right. And these are 7-inch loops on this with the tails of about 8 inches. And you know I always make an X, all right? And when I do bows, I kind of like 5 different, not that you have to, that's just my preference. And I'm making the loops smaller as I go. So that was a 7-inch, the first one. This one is a 6-inch loop. So what's the weather like in your state? When we left Florida on Saturday morning, it was 87 there. Well, it hadn't reached 87 yet, but it was on its way. We got back to Pennsylvania. It was cold, very cold. And hopefully I have enough ribbon of this one. This one's going to be a 5-inch. Hopefully I'll have enough for my second bow. And this one I love too because it's the orange version of the glitter. And this one came actually, I think, from Craft Outlet. I should have enough there for my next one. But It is about 60s, I think in the 60s here today. And every time I do my loops, as you can see, I make sure I kind of set that bow to, so when I take it off of the bow maker, I tell you this all the time, it just makes it so much easier because it's kind of already ready and set for me to go. This is going to be a 4-inch, and I am actually going to do, instead of just one, I'm going to do 2 of these. So 2 loops each side. And I am literally just going to go straight across with these. And this is a Michaels ribbon. And I always like to really push that down, okay? When you get in there, push that down. And I'm just going to finish this off with this black and white stripe. And this is a velvet stripe, which is pretty neat. I think this one is from Craft Outlet as well. This is a nice thick ribbon. Actually a very thick ribbon, which I love. I love thick ribbon. Over the years, ribbon has kind of changed. Ribbon used to be very thick at one time. But I noticed over the years, not everybody keeps it thick anymore. So I am just going to get this kind of set here. And I'm going to actually do a double pipe cleaner through the back so I can attach it. But I zip tie, and I'm going to zip tie it. It feels so good to be back into my shop. You have no idea. I miss it so much when I'm gone. I take big rubber containers, Rubbermaid containers with me of all kind of stuff. And see how I kind of I didn't really tie it like really tight there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this in here so I can put this around my grapevine. Then I'm going to tighten that up. And this is going to be my attachment to my wreath. All right. Okay. So now that that was set, it's going to be pretty easy to kind of just fan these out. We're just going to get these loops all fanned out. Kind of got that top loop in there a little bit wonky, but it's okay. But I love that if you get your bow set before you close it up and tie it up, it makes it so much easier to just really get in there and get them loops. Look, it's already kind of like it's done. All you're really doing is just kind of fluffing those loops up. All right, so that's one. All right. Oh, I still got my heat press on. Let's turn that off. All right, we're going to set that back here. And we are going to redo this. Is everybody, do me a favor, say hello below, please. I got a new phone, which just set it up yesterday. I was having some issues with it, not letting me do any FaceTime with any FaceTime, because I FaceTime my kids all the time, and my grandkids, and it was not performing right. So I had to get something, I had to go in and finagle with my settings. There you are. Thank you, guys. I don't know if you know this, but when you're in groups, it's okay to lurk. I do it a lot. But every now and then, if you're in a group, give a thumbs up, give a heart. Just do some kind of interaction, because what it does is it helps that group page with the algorithm. And I know people's like, I just want to lurk in the back. I don't even really know that. I don't really want anyone to know I'm kind of here. But I will tell you, let me let you in on a little secret. Every time somebody joins in, I see it on my end. So I know who's here. I know who's watching, even though they're not saying anything. Which is, you know, no biggie, whatever. But it really helps the group be seen if you say just hello, or give a thumbs up, give a heart. Just some kind of interaction is great for the group page. It just helps it to be seen more, and then that way you guys can see what's going on. All right, so I started again, 7-inch loop, second row, we are doing 6-inch loop. So I just go down, sometimes an inch, sometimes a ½ inch, just depends. I'm never consistent. I do things so many different ways that I just kind of go with it. But I'm setting my loops. And all I'm doing is making X's. Getting them ready so that... Okay, I must not be setting my settings right because a call just came through. I don't know if it pauses the group for you guys, but I don't know. It just does something weird on my end. It pauses me. So let me tell you a little bit about this spider ribbon. The last time I was using it, I made about 2 or 3 different things from it that day. And when I left here, I just went back home, but not thinking anything. So I go home, and I'm in my laundry room, and I'm doing laundry, right? And there's an orange shirt there with a big old spider, big old wolf spider. If you ever seen a wolf spider, you know they're starting to come back in. It's fall. They tend to make their ways sometimes into the houses. At least they do here in PA. And we need to spray some like home defense around the house. But there was a spider. It was probably about this big on an orange shirt. I had separated my laundry before I'd left for work, and I just had different piles so that when I could get home, it'd be easy to change out. So I've been working with this all day. I go home. There's an orange shirt, a pile. I go pick it up, and there's a spider on it about this big. I seen it. I picked it up, but I was working with that ribbon all day long. Never thought anything about it. Was thinking it was ribbon until it moved, and it ran across my arm, like up across my arm. Freaked me out, because I am not a fan of spiders. I'm not afraid of them, but I'm not a fan of them. But I was like, that's what you get for working with that all day long. Okay, so this is a 5-inch loop. Ooh, look at that. We just made it to the end. All right. Just made it to the end. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. Throwing that out. Actually, I should probably save that for the SKU number. I will put on, I need to write on that. Let me write on this real quick what it is, because I really love this glitter. I'm going to save this because I need to order more. So yeah, that just kind of freaked me out. All right. And where's my other bow? We did 4 loops of this. These are 4-inch. So has anybody sold any Halloween wreaths, swags, centerpieces? Anybody? How about fall? Has anybody been selling their fall? Because I have been doing very well with the fall. All right, let's get these kind of set. So that when I take it out, it's going to be very easy to take out. And again, I'm just making an X with it. There we go. And then we will top it off with this. So moral of the story, if you're working with spider ribbon all day long, be careful what you pick up when you go home. Because you might pick up a spider on an orange shirt. All right. And I'm going to connect these together again. So I switched carriers. Wireless carriers, and I'm hoping this one's a little better. We had Verizon literally forever, almost 15 years, 17 years, something like that. My husband decided to switch to AT&T because we were constantly, Verizon used to be a great company, but somewhere along the line, they kind of started dropping the ball a little bit with, you know, remember the old, can you hear me now? Because they were everywhere. And I don't know what happened, but then they kind of like were nowhere. Always dropping calls, and service wasn't good in areas, and so my husband decided to try out AT&T. So we are on AT&T now. We're hoping we don't drop calls, but I'm looking at my screen and it looks a little grainy. Is the video clear to you guys? Because it looks a little grainy on my computer. Okay. So let's set this aside. All right. Let's get our wreath. Can anybody let me know? Is the video nice and clear? It's clear. Okay, thank you. It looks, on my computer, it looks a little grainy. All right, so sometimes when you get wreaths, they're wonky. Like this is kind of, it's very thin over here. It's thick over here. And Grapevine wreaths are never perfect. Like every 100, you'll get one that's like, you're like, oh, that's a nice one. It's just the nature of the beast. So you always got to figure out which way's best, what looks best. If I do this, this kind of looks oblong, like going that way. So I know that this way's best. And sometimes you also got to cut away some of that. That's falling apart, like some of this is coming off. And a lot of times they're filled with grape leaves. And you got to go outside. What I do is, some people get in with screwdrivers and stuff like that. I don't. I'm more interested in just getting off the loose stuff. So I just usually take this outside. Believe it or not, I just kind of like bang it like that, bang it like this against the side of, we have a brick building here. I just go out there and bang it like that and get the loose stuff out. All right, so I've already put my cable mounts on, my cable tie mounts, and I am going to go in and get the pipe cleaner set. So these cable tie mounts, see how they just slide right through that? Isn't that awesome? And then what I'm gonna do is I am gonna tie them on nice and clear. Good, thank you, ladies. So we're just gonna get these, we want these to be long, because sometimes feeding it through the grapevine or tying it around the grapevine, I like to try to feed it through the grapevine, but sometimes when it's being stubborn, I will tie it around it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I like to feed it through. But sometimes grapevine is just stubborn. I was doing a little bit of kind of researching online, but Halloween is the next biggest holiday to Christmas that's celebrated. So if you're not, I'm not a big Halloween fan. We don't even celebrate it. Never did, never have, never with my kids, grandchildren. When they got older, they decided whether or not they wanted to, but it was just something we didn't have in our church either. So it's not something like we've ever really done. It's just not my favorite holiday. But I got some of these. All right, so signs laying around that I need to use. So all I'm doing is I am just going to tie this on here. So I'm feeding it through the grapevine. And you want it to be nice and tight. Because you don't want it falling around. Okay. See, I'm caught. All right. So I'm going to go from corner to corner. Sometimes I use zip ties. Sometimes I use pipe cleaners. This time I used a pipe cleaner. And I'm just feeling around and making sure it's nice and tight on here. And I'm going to tuck that pipe cleaner in. Make sure that the back of your wreath, if you have any cable ties, anything like that, tuck that back into the grapevine, because you don't want it scratching someone's door. I know people like to, some people like to put felt on the back of theirs, like some designers and things like that. I don't. I just try to make sure that, I've never done that. I just try to make sure that there's nothing sharp in sticking out of the wreath on the back. Yeah. In all of my years of making grapevine wreaths, I have never, ever put anything on the back. You would just think that common sense would let people know that it's a grapevine. But I don't know. Common sense ain't so common anymore. you know. I don't know what happened to us. And you have to include warning signs that say on batteries, car batteries, go out and look at your car battery. It literally tells you not to drink the acid. What? The back of laundry detergent. And did you see the new fad that they got going on? People are cooking chicken in NyQuil. Because something about the NyQuil, once it's heated up, it intensifies the alcohol or something in it. Mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. There's no words. Okay. So, here we go. Okay. And it's nice and tight. Look at that. It's snug on there. That's what you want. All right. You want that to be nice and snug. And I'm just going to feed this back through. When will I pack up and move my shop? Well, definitely not till after the hurricane. And honestly, not until I find a shop down there, because I'm not packing this up until, like, I bring totes with me of stuff, but I am not packing this up until I have another shop down there, because we have a 14-foot enclosed trailer, so it's like just a big enclosed trailer. We haul our Harley in it, and you know, it's great for moving things. So once I find a shop down there, I will literally, we will bring it here. It's down there right now with all my husband's office stuff, and we have a storm surge coming of about 10 to 12 feet of water. So it's probably going to be underwater. We're just praying against that, because it is every bit of his stuff. I'm talking fax machines, folders, business equipment. But anyways, I am not going to pack this shop up until I got something down there, because when I pack this up, it will be, everything will be loaded into that trailer. All right, so let me clip this cable tie off the back. I found these. These are nice. They're cobalt, which I think is Lowe's. I found these. These are wire bolt cutters. I've been using these, and I love them. All right, so let's do that. Let's place these before I do anything and see where I really want them to be. People are getting crazy. People are getting crazy. I just don't understand what is going on in people's heads. I don't want to understand it. You know the saying, I always wanted to know what someone was thinking until Facebook came about, and now I don't want to know what no one's thinking. All right, so I'm going to feed these. These are going to be diagonal from each other. Is the best placement that I found. So all I'm doing is literally feeding it through the grapevine instead of wrapping it around it. So I'm just finding spots. I am going to twist that in nice and secure. Is it hard to find a new space? You have no idea. Because the market is still so high up and expensive right now that there's so many buildings open in Florida, so many buildings that are vacant. But the problem is people down there, business owners down there, I'm not kidding you, think they own a gold mine. And as long as people are feeding into that mentality, it's not coming down at the moment. So, and I'm not going in and I am not paying for 900 square feet. I'm not paying $3,000, $3,500. I'm just not. So when the market went up, people got crazy in their thinking. So it's hard to find a shop that I think, oh, there's tons of spaces, but it's hard to find a shop that is what I'm willing to pay. Just get these on here tight. Tuck them back in. Same over here. I'm going to put this in tight. Yeah, it's crazy. Like 900 square feet, and they're asking like $3,500. And wait, that does not include utilities. Like, I'm thinking, what? Ain't no wonder there's 5,000 places available. Because businesses are like, nope, that's not happening. All right. So, here we are. Okay. Now I'm just going to go around and start cutting my tails. And you can dovetail them. You can just, you can slant them. It doesn't matter. It's just personal preference. I like to dovetail. I always have. But you don't have to. You can just do slants on them if you want. Yeah, so the market's really crazy right now. We had one gentleman, my kids were looking to rent for a house. And like rentals and properties and rental properties, businesses, people are just getting crazy. It's up like 200%, like 250%. Like, that's just insanity. Well, this one gentleman, super nice guy, had, I'm just dovetailing all these, had one of his houses, he was getting married. And he's a real estate agent. And he wanted to rent out his house because he was moving down the street. So my kids went and looked at it, my daughter and son-in-law. They were going to rent it from him. And he's a real estate agent. And he was so nice. He was like, I am not going to rip you guys off. I am not charging what everybody else is. I'm an agent. He was an agent for like 4 years. And he's like, I'm going to be fair to you guys. He was super nice. And I just happened to catch the ad online in the marketplace, in the rentals. Super nice guy. So my kids are going to rent a house from him. So that's that with them. Now, let me cut this down. This one's too large. And don't be afraid to, wait, that was going the right way. Throwing this upside down. Don't be afraid to cut down your ribbons once you get them set. Okay, that's why I like to sometimes have a little bit extra long tails and things, because I cut them once they're set, the bow's set. But, hold on one second, I have a knock. Judy. Okay, it was my daughter and my granddaughter stopping by. But, so the thing about Florida is, all these rentals, they are getting really ridiculous. Because they want you to pay first month's rent, last month's rent, plus security deposit. So if you're moving into it, do the math. If you're moving into the house, that is, which you can't really get anything, a 3-bedroom or even a 2-bedroom, and don't include a pool. They're usually about $2,500, between $22,000 and $25,000 is the going rate for a 3-bedroom. So let's say $2,500. That's $7,500 you need, $7,500 to move into a house that you're renting. Is what the going rate is down there, that you're renting. Let that sink in. Crazy. Let's cut this one down. It's too. Yeah, so who has, like I said, in this economy, and not even just in this economy, who has $7,500 just laying around to rent a house so you can move into a house? And even if you did, would you want to come off of that? Like, that's crazy. I can understand first month's rent, last month's, or in a security deposit, because that's everywhere. You know, we have rentals. So I understand that, because if a person does damages, you want to at least try to recoup. And it keeps them in good faith too for renting. Wait, let me get this. When I go backwards sometimes, I get myself all messed up on these. So, yeah. Okay, I'm not liking this one. Are we going to rent a house? We are. We're looking still to buy. But, and me and my husband go over this debate all the time. I personally want to live in my camper. I do. I like not having to clean a big house. I really do. I like, this is still too big. I like our camper. We have a very nice camper. All my kids and everybody that comes says we have a mini apartment. And it is. It's almost like a mini apartment. So, I love that. My husband, it's a no-go for him. He wants to have a pool, you know. He's all in. So, we'll see who wins that battle. Until now, I absolutely want to rent, just because, like I said to him, I'm not sure, even though we've been visiting this area for the last, like, 8 years. Look at this. Isn't that cute? Okay, let's add some greenery. Even though we've been visiting it and staying there for 2 weeks at a time is a whole lot different than living there. And I'm already starting to find some things that I'm like, I don't know if I really want to live here. So, we're debating. You know what? There's a lot of orange in here. Let me get some purple. We're going to change this up a little. Let me find it. I gotta find my purple. Going through my tubs. Found it. Found it. Let me see if I even like this. I might throw some purple in. Do I have any other purple? Let me see what I got here. I want to kind of just get away from some of the orange. not really finding much. Did find this. I should have another one here. Let me look and see if I do. Usually I buy things in pairs. That's a negative. All right, I must have not had that in a pair, which is odd because I usually buy things in twos. All right, I'm gonna put some of this on, but I need to get some greenery. So let's see if I have any back here. I just put everything away, so I don't know. We're not going to worry about it. Let's just go with this. So this is the 60919. I tell you about it all the time. It's my favorite. It comes in various colors. I get it right on Deco Exchange. I have a link. I will link Deco Exchange. Let me link it now. I will give you a link to it. They have some great colors, and these are great. Super nice for filling in. I call them fillers, but they're really just really nice. It's more than a filler, actually. Here, let me get to this. And I'll put a link to it. So the number is 60919. All right. Okay. And again, the number 60919. They come in different colors. This is the purple, which is kind of lavender. I like them because, let me clear off some of my space here. Because they come in such different colors, and they have the greenery already attached, and so you get some greenery. Even if you only just had this, it would be enough. But make sure when you get them, you kind of fan them out. I do need some kind of greenery, some kind of greenery. And I don't know what I did with it. I got these leaves in, but I'm not a fan of these. I had this really nice dark greenery. It was kind of fuzzy like velvet. But I don't think that's going to do it because I don't have enough. All right, look at this. I use these a lot in like centerpieces. This is not something I usually do in a wreath, but we're going to go with it because it's nice and dark. And the whole stem is wired, so it's bendable. And I wanted dark greens. Let's just get that tucked up under there. My hot glue gun's working, so guess what? I'm going to use my glue gun. Sometimes my battery dies quickly on this, but it's going steady. All right. Isn't that funny? Sometimes when you clean up and you put things away, you don't know where you put it. but when it wasn't put away, you knew where you left it. Yeah, do that all the time. All right, so let me see. Should I put one? Should I put two? Because these are kind of really scarce. So I'm going to layer that. And like I always tell you, don't commit yourself to something until you put it together and you like it. All right? And I'm going to kind of just bend these. I actually got these on Amazon. And I got a bunch of them. They come in like, I think, 12 packs. But I use them a lot as fillers for around my centerpieces, things like that. Never used it in a wreath before, but it looks pretty good. So I like the dark color. So we are going to use that as the back. And then I'm going to get this wrapped up. This end is weird. But I wanted the greenery to be darker on this because this is kind of fall. It's not the bright greens, it's the darker greens. All I'm using is some floral tape, just taping this up. Because once you pull those apart on the 60919, because there's like 3 stems to it, you can pull them apart, 3 sections. The bottoms kind of get like exposed. See how that is? So I kind of like to wrap it with tape sometimes. All right, I'm not going to set these in permanently or glue them until I see if I even like this, because I'm not so sure about the purple. But I want to add some different color instead of just orange. I know the sign doesn't have it, but purple, orange, black, they're all Halloween colors. But we were definitely in a seller's market for the longest time as a country. And with the interest rates now going up, they're trying to make it come back to a buyer's market. And I can definitely see some difference because when we was in Florida and bidding on houses back in March, it was insanity. People were were bidding, and they were selling homes, I'm not even kidding you, in 17 hours. They were bidding, we had one person bid $70,000 above asking price. They're never going to recoup that because it was already at a high. We was already at its highest that it would ever be. So I don't understand people's thinking, because from buying that home, they were immediately losing. Like immediate. They were already going into a home and taking a loss. Gotta go, little ones need to be picked up. Oh, yep, that was my granddaughter. She actually stopped here. I'm gonna use my step cutter for this bad boy. I have a really nice stem cutter here, love it. All right, and I'm gonna curl these ends. So we have some curly cues. Sun's actually shining. It was raining earlier here. Definitely fall temps here. So it was not at all fall temps in Florida when we left. So that's a big reason why the Gulf is fueling the fire of the hurricane. All right, I'm going to stick with the purples. How about that? Something a little different. And do you see with when I'm doing a wreath, I don't want everything to be flat. Even in nature, when it comes to florals and things like that, nothing's flat. So don't, I know some people, you know, want a flatter wreath and things like that. That's fine. But just remember to make sure that you have some depth and height, and don't make everything flat. Fluff up your bows, fluff up your greenery. It looks better. All right. Oh, okay, don't touch that. That's hot under there. Some glue seep through. All right, let me get this over here and shove down in. And I'm going to leave this kind of pulled up. I'll fix that when we're done, just because I just glued in there. Let's get another piece. See how we got 3 sections? Pull them apart. When I came back in my shop, it was horrible. It was such a disaster here. I literally couldn't. I look like a hoarder. I had a small walkway this morning, and I had some orders I needed to fill. So while things were cutting on the laser cutter, I was cleaning because I literally could barely even move in my own shop. I was like ready to be featured on Hoarders Buried Alive. Business Owners Edition, because it was bad. Okay, so let's get this also stuck down in here. All right, what's going on here? I like to try to find a nice kind of tight spot when I am doing my grapevines. I like to kind of get that down into a spot that's nice and tight. So not only is the glue holding it, but also is the wreath, the vine itself, so the grapevine wreath. All right, so I am stuck on glue. Look at all this glue coming out the back. All right, let me set this aside for a minute. I got to get some of this glue off of my table. Make sure you have yourself a scraper. And I like to design on my mat here because it's a silicone mat and it's self-healing for cuts. But see how this stuff just pulls right off. But it's kind of getting my grapevine hung up on it. So I like to use this mat Not only that, it's got a ruler on it. And it's just a great tool. So if you have the space for it, I got this at Joann's. This is 36 inches. It gives you a ruler and everything. All right. All right, so now that some of this in here is dry, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to start fluffing these back up. And then we're going to go and work on the bottom bow. All right, make sure that this is all nice and fluffed. Okay, here's where we're at. And we also got to make sure we're not covering up our wording or anything on our trick or treat sign. Okay, so make sure you're not doing that. And every now and then, I always tell you, take it over to your, I have a, let's see if we can see. I have a stand, a wreath stand, that I like to check it on so that it's eye level. I know it's off to the side here and you can't see. Because what you see is always different than, looking down is always different than when it's right in front of you. As if it would be hanging on a door. All right, so let's go to the bottom bow. I want to fan this out a little bit. Okay. Again, I'm going to just add some of this dark greenery. And we're going to curve it, we are going to curve it upward, I think. So these are nice because you can manipulate them. They're wire the whole ways up. So I'm going to kind of curve it a little. I'm going to tuck that up under that bow. I'm going to get my glue gun. And if you get one of these Ryobi glue guns, let me warn you, they are the hottest glue gun I have ever used. Ever. So be super careful when using them. I literally gave myself a massive burn my first attempt at it. It was horrible. I need another glue stick. And get yourself an extra battery. Ain't nothing worse than you working with it and the battery dies. But it's great because it's cordless. I love this thing. But I didn't buy an extra battery when I first bought it. And I ended up going out and getting one because I hated being in the middle of a project and the battery died. And it happens quite often. Especially with, it's a 20, I think it's a 20. Yeah, it is. 18 volt. But it tends to, it usually stays for about an hour, but sometimes I'm working a little longer than that. Okay, so let's put another, just to thicken this up, because these are very thin. Where did I put that in at? Where did I put that in at? I'm glad I chose to not put more orange in it because that would have been too much. Just a little too much. Okay. So I know I'm going to put that under there, but let me get this bent. I want to bend it down a little. And I have 2 more sprigs left of the purple, so I'm going to just use, I'm going to be real sparse a little bit along the bottom here. So I think the hurricane, they are said, is supposed to hit tomorrow in Florida. No, tonight. Tonight. The winds and that are starting, the water surges are supposed to start to come in. Oh, goodness. My cousin's down there. I actually probably should contact her and see if she left. She's in a mobile home down there. I hope she did. I feel bad. My daughter's friend is a pharmacist and for the Cleveland Clinic. And he has to stay. So I feel bad because there are people in nursing homes. And oh, my battery died. See, look at that. I was just telling you guys about that. Let's take the other one out. All right, I'm getting a new battery. But, you know, like there's nursing homes down there. There is hospitals, and these people can't leave. And I just wonder, what do they do with them? Just out of curiosity, is anybody from Florida and know? Like, what do they do in those situations where they can't be taken out? You know, especially like nursing homes and people that are really sick in the hospital. Do they evacuate them? I mean, I would assume they would. I would hope they would. But I'm just wondering, do they? Let me cut this on my stem cutter. But I know my daughter was just telling me, oh, goodness, that was a hard one, that her friend said that she can't leave because her husband can't leave, or isn't leaving. He's a pharmacist with the Cleveland Clinic, and they need him there. So they are staying. I'm sure they got protocols for those kind of people. And I know here in Pennsylvania, it was on our news this morning that they have 2 local area EMT and emergency services that are already on their en route to Florida to help out in the after. So, I don't know, that's scary. I just thought, oh my goodness, she said she's not leaving because her husband's not leaving. And he's a pharmacist, and they need him on staff. That's scary. I can't imagine having to stay. Even like being part of the emergency management there, they got to stay. Fluff your bows. Oh, I'm off screen. I'm over here. I'm off screen. Sorry. I'm fluffing. I'm fluffing. All right, so this is where we're at. What do you think? Still got the wording. The trick or treat wording is still being able to be seen. All right, because that's important, because that sign has to be seen. And then now what I want to do is I kind of want to overlap some of these leaves, because remember how sparse they are? Like, look. I mean, they're very sparse. So what I do is once I put them together, I kind of bring the front out to the back, back, and I just kind of intertwine them. They just look better when you do that, and they kind of, they stay nicer, I guess. The hospital nurses has to come to the house to stay for help for the aftermath. Oh. Wow. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot back here real quick. I don't know if you can see, but I have my wreath board. I am going to set it up here. I want to check everything. Okay. All right, looking good, looking good. All right, so I'm just gonna bend those so those kind of curl upward and these kind of curl downward, okay? So it almost looks like I filled my whole wreath in and with greenery and stuff, and really I did not. But I'm curling it around the sides so that it kind of, they run into each other. I'm loving this. I want to see if I can throw some of this in here. Is there three? Oh, there is. Oh, there's 3 pieces on here. Awesome. All right. I'm not going to commit myself to anything yet and glue it in until I decide if that's where I want it to land. Okay, I think I'm going to put it there. Okay, let me check. Yeah, I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to glue it right, literally right at the base of my bow. And you know what I always tell you, once you get them in, get your item in here sometimes, give it a little wiggle. Make sure it touches as many, it looks like it's going to storm. Make sure it touches as many surfaces as possible. Okay. We're going to let that cool down, and then I'll mess with that. I'm going to try and find a spot for it in here. All right, let me get my glasses on because I can't see. Oh, good. Okay, shove that in there. Let me get some glue in here. So that's the nice thing about a glue gun is once you get your stuff set in, you literally could just glue it right where it's at. Where, you know, I use a skillet, a glue pot, and I got to, you know, you put it in, you take it out, you glue it, and you put it back in. So it's either way, it's fine. All right. Do I want this third piece in here? Yeah, I'm going to add this third piece. Simply because I'm a kind of more girl. A lot of people are more is less. I am more is more. But I got to find a spot for it in here that will stay. Actually looks like we got a storm coming. So we might be brewing a storm out there. That went from nice and sunny to, I think it's going to have a storm. And that is Pennsylvania. The storms down in Florida are crazy. I was not prepared for what rain I would call a storm, which really isn't. What rain looks like in Florida, I was not prepared for. Everything down there looks like a storm. You get rain coming in, it is so scary looking. Back home, we'd be running, yelling, saying, we need to get in the shelter or get in the basement because a tornado's coming. But it's just the way the rain down there looks. Freaked me out. All right. I got these, but I don't think I'm going to use these today since I was going to use these, but we went with purple. So let me show you what it looks like. I think I'm just going to leave it be. Let me see about maybe gathering one more leaf up here. Do I want to or do I not? That is the question. Let me check it on my board. And you don't necessarily need a wreath board, but I will tell you, make sure that you have like a hook on the wall or something where you can hang. See how I'm like looking at it this way? Because you're going to need to check things, because sometimes even my bows aren't right until, you know, they look right when it's down on the table, and then I go and I put it on my board and my bow is lopsided, or it's more toward the back than it is to the front. So I think I'm gonna just put this in here, thicken this up a little, and that is that. And I'm gonna put one over there. Actually, I'm not. I'm leaving it go. I want to see some grapevine through this. How about that? All right, guys. There it is. Oh, let me cut this down. Make sure there's no sharp ends on the ribbon in the back. Any of your pipe cleaners, things like that. Make sure you check those. There we are. Doesn't that purple look good? Instead of it being all orange and black, we actually, you know what, let me fan this out. Make sure you're not covering up your wording. But here we go. What do you think? What do you think? Double bow. And if there's one thing that I always say, that practice, practice, practice. Practice your bows. That's something that I'm real finicky on, is bows. Just simply because, you know, a bow can do so much. A good bow can do so much for something, and a bad bow could do something so much for a wreath. Think of it this way. If you had plain paper, just a bag, you know, craft paper, and you were wrapping a present, it's okay. But what would it look like if you put a beautiful red bow on that? And that bow was just standing out. That would take that craft paper, wrapping paper, brown wrapping paper, like paper bag. That would take that and just take it to a whole new level. Okay? So work on your bows. That was something that I had learned early in my decorating career, like my wreath making, because I worked at it was a craft outlet. That's what it was called, craft outlet store. But they emphasized on boutonnieres, weddings, graduations, so special events. And one of the things that we learned early was they really had us, we were hand tying them though at that time, is working on our bows. We had to learn how to make a bow. And that was a big thing with them. We had to perfect our bow making. And now I know why, you know, because back then I was like, because they would literally, you would have someone that was, you know, like shop manager of the day or whatever of the week, or whoever was on duty. We had several of them. And if your bow, your bouquet, your wedding bouquet, your boutonniere could have been spot on, everything perfect, and then had a bow that was not so good, and let me tell you, they sent that back and said, you need to fix that bow. That was a big thing with them. So, I appreciate that now. You know, back then I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is beautiful. The bow's not perfect, but nope, it was coming back. And now I know why. I got this spider and I forgot I had it. So, I want to see. I think I'm going to put it right on the top of my bow. I think it's going to live in my bow. It is going to be a center of my bow, my bottom bow. It's creepy. All right, guys, that's it. And if you want, you can always, again, check your back. You can always add a pipe cleaner hanger to the back if you want. I usually don't. The only time I ever really add a hanger to my wreaths is when it is a deco mesh wreath, just deco mesh, because you don't know how many times I've had people literally hang a deco mesh wreath upside down or sideways, but not like it was intended. How much would I charge for a wreath like this? I would go back, I would check how much I used in material, but generally my wreaths are around $90, $100, depending on how much material I have in. Count for all of your material and at least double that, all right? And that usually can give you a roundabout idea, but this will probably be about $90 for this one. I try to kind of stick within that range. Sometimes I have like something that goes out of that range. They're a little bit harder to sell. You have to have a market for those kind of sales. So just remember that, okay? There's, the more expensive the wreath gets, the more the market changes. The market meaning the amount of people that's going to buy that wreath, okay? So, but this one will probably be around 90, 95. I have quite a bit of stuff in it, so, yep. Sit there. Okay. And that's it. And that's what the back of my wreath looks like. And right in the middle of this wreath, I will probably put, and I will go ahead now, I'm going to show you, I got these stickers. And I do make these stickers. If anybody is interested in stickers, I make these. So I do offer them, and it comes in rolls of like 50, 100. So this is just, it says handmade with love, Char Sethman Designs. Handmade with love just for you is around the outside of it. And I'll tell you, this is what I do. Get yourself, especially if you're going to like craft fairs, anything like that, and your wreaths are hanging up. And these are on every one of my wreaths. Every one of my wreaths. You can see right here, I have hang tags. If I was to do a show, they would be tagged. Get yourself one of these. These are just them clothing gun. This is like tagging clothing. And then I just cut squares. I cut squares, and then I have, remember I told you I had a little wire? In one of my videos, I use this. This is literally a metal punch. I will punch a corner up there. Do you see that? A hole in the corner with my metal punch, and I just cut out a bunch of these. I take these stickers. I will literally put it on, and this becomes a hang tag. And when you go to your shows, not only is they are leaving with your name, okay? You can let them know that you're on Etsy or wherever it is. You have a shop, whatever. And a lot of times they can just, you know, it says my business name right in the middle, Char Sethman Designs. If you Google that, I guarantee you it's going to show me my Etsy shop. So even if somebody gets home and they're like, oh man, I didn't remember what it was, your business name's right here, okay? They can Google it. It will bring you up. So what I do is, though, I take my tagging gun. Very easy. You just pop it through the hole. And at the bottom of my ribbon, and usually over toward the edge of the wire, I hang my tags. See? And then these double when you go and you're doing a craft show. Right on the back, you could put the price. All right? But if you're interested in them, I do sell those. And I sell them in pink, blue, and then black and white. Let me see. So I have the pink, the blue, the black, and white. Get one here. And I usually have a bunch made up so that I can just go right in. So I have pink, the blue, which I have on there, pink, blue, black, and white, and then I have the blue on here. But I tag everything, and again, it would be great for using them at a craft show because people can flip that over. Or just have it this way, have your price facing out, and then that way when they get home, your business logo is on the back. Okay? But make sure you tag all of your wreaths. I do not ship a wreath, unless it would be an oversight, without my tag on it. See, I'm showing that I'm very, can everybody see, is this video clear? Because on my computer, my laptop sitting here, it is not. And I don't know if it's now because there's a storm. It's pouring down rain. I don't know if it's because of the rain. But that's all. I just make up a bunch of stickers. Again, very easy. These are just blank. And then I'll go through sometimes and then I'll just get them ready. And they'll be ready for when I just reach in and I tag them. But yeah, that's what I do. Okay. Super simple, easy. This tagging gun, get right on Amazon. You know, it's got the big needle. They're very easy to do. You buy these little, it comes with, when you first get them, they comes with them. But then you just buy these tags, and they just go down in. They're very easy to do. Super easy. Nope. And it makes it nice, it shows, because then people aren't guessing how much each wreath is. You have them tagged. All right, that's it. That's it. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to get some pictures of it. And remember, when you're doing your pictures, fluff that bow. I'm a stickler on bows, and I think that was just because of where I'd worked. And they had taught me to be a stickler on bows. So, alrighty. I am going to actually get home, get some dinner ready. So, alrighty. Love you all, and you be blessed.